Hey everybody, it's Eric Gross with eXp Realty and the team lead for the Eric Gross Group. We are a multi-state team working out of Cincinnati, Ohio and Tampa, Florida. We've been doing this for 8 years. We are 20 million year to date with our agents. So from the start of January, we're heading into July. Run a multi-state team and also have teams across the country with eXp. And I'm here with my wife, Katie.
Yeah, I'm Katie Gross, work alongside Eric, and we're super happy to be joined by Billy and Amber up in Cincinnati.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys. Seriously, you guys are some of my favorite people. We always look forward to hearing from you. But again, Billy Huff here, team lead of the Huff Group, right here in Ohio, specifically Southwest Ohio, primarily Butler County. We live in Trenton, Ohio. Not a lot of Ohio there, but yeah, we got
Oh, wait.
yeah, OHIO baby. But seriously, have 4 agents underneath us. It's been really great. I mean, year to date so far, we're over 30 transactions and growing. I mean, we have a lot in the pipeline, tons of listings, tons of activity for our other agents. So super excited, super blessed to be a part of that. And that's what I got. What you got, babe?
I'm Amber Huff. I am Billy's admin. At one point, I did have an active real estate license. It's now on hold. So I do more of the office management side, transaction coordinating side, and then I'm actually a title representative. So that's kind of my wheelhouse for real estate.
As you can hear, she does it all. She definitely keeps myself in line, and that's what's been really cool. Is like, at first when I started solo agent, doing so many transactions a year, to like I mentioned, hey, we got agents underneath us, and we're growing from there, which is really cool.
Yeah, super awesome. And we'll definitely talk, Amber, a little bit about you doing the title side, because I think that's just the way you got into it and what you're doing with it is super awesome. And I think there's just so much to this business. So we'll definitely talk about that. And I talked yesterday with Gordon and Tidra, like, better half this side of the screen. And I know it's the same with you, Billy. Like, we are kept in line, which I think is super common for the husband-wife teams.
Yeah, 100%. Like you mentioned, man, definitely the better half. And if it wasn't for Amber and the things that she does, like, I hate the paperwork side, I hate the timeline side.
Yeah.
She keeps me in line in order for us to scale.
But you gotta have both, because I'm not as personable as Billy is. Like, I think I'm great, obviously, but he connects with people so well. And that's something that I feel like we've made a good marriage of our two personalities. With, I'm a little bit more detail oriented, back office, spreadsheets, timelines, and he's more of the, hey, let's make relationships, let's go out and build this and create a family.
It's been funny because, like, when we first started, we've been doing this since 2018. At first Amber didn't have her license at that time, but then it was like, hey, I'm getting my license. And then at that time, you go through, which I'm sure you guys have went through too, Eric and Katie, in regards to, like, maybe button heads a little bit, like, hey, did you do this? No, I already did that. Like, why are you doing that too? So it's taken a little bit, and I think this past, I don't know, maybe 3 or so years, we've kind of gotten to a groove, both of us, where we understand each other's roles, which has been good.
Yeah.
It's marriage, like, same thing, working together is one thing, it's different, especially when you're husband and wife. It's really different, but it's really cool, and it's a blessing for sure.
So
Did you guys both get licensed in the same year?
No, I was a year later.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, my background is nursing. So I was actually an emergency room nurse when Billy started into real estate, and I was that, like, super annoying wife that was, like, sharing all of his listings and, like, commenting his name on every post.
She was on it, like, seriously, like, anyone posted anything, bam, 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 and I'm just like, it was, I mean, she killed it. It was awesome.
So Billy's broker at the time kept kind of, like, nudging, like, hey, Amber, you're already kind of doing it. Like, you should probably, go get licensed and make it legal, because I was going along with all the showings and the open houses. So
Yeah.
I jumped in about a year later after him.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Yeah, I got licensed 2018 as well, which I know we've talked about, Billy. Like, we're the same year. And Katie got licensed in 2022 or 2021. So I had already kind of built it up. Like, I was doing everything, like the contracts and organization. It was going very poorly. Like, that is not my cup of tea. So when she got licensed, like, we definitely butted heads, because I was like, this is the way I do it. And she's like, well, that's the wrong way to do it. And I was like,
And
no.
I didn't even know what I was doing, so
So it was a lot of, like,
worth.
there's a lot of, there's a lot of, like, training. And then she's like, well, I'm going to do this better. And I was like, sweet, that's yours. I'll go talk to people, because the first like couple months. I was like, you got to talk to people. And she's like, I'm not doing that. And I was like, what is going on? Yeah.
I'm
So I
like,
think,
you talk to him. I'll fill out the contract.
Amber would like sit in the car for like the showings. I'm like, everyone would be like, is she okay? And I'm
yeah,
like,
same.
like
And
she's busy doing something. When you
I think it's super common when it's a husband-wife team, or if you like, even if it's a partner. Like I've met agents that are just like, two people partnered. Like there has to be strengths and weaknesses, and they have to be opposite. Because if you're both great at talking to people, but you both suck with paperwork, it's going to go really poorly.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. Like if you're both don't want to talk to anybody, but very good with organization, it doesn't go well. So it's nice that it plays off like that.
I remember one of my favorite things though, early on, like I guess it wasn't early on because it was a couple years after we were licensed when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And it was those where our listings would have like 15 offers on them, and we would like be comparing them, and me and him are arguing like, what do we feel like is the best contract? When our sellers ask us like, hey, what would you guys pick? And I'd be like, well, I like this one for this reason. He's like, I like this one for this reason. So we would almost compete against each other sometimes, which made it a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Like sometimes, as you guys I'm sure have experienced, like you have the same families riding on the same house. So it's like Amber's like representing this side, which was nice. We could split off a little bit, and then I was representing one side. So we'd be butting heads at the kitchen table, like, like she said, my offer's better. Or, reason as to why this offer should be accepted or
We're
not.
a little competitive, if you can't tell.
Yeah, that's too funny. Like I didn't know that you guys did it that way, because we've always just done it where it's just both the same business. Like we both and she just handled the paperwork, so she's never like worked with a client per se. And anybody she brings into the business, she's immediately like, and now Eric is your contact.
Here's
and I'm
my
like,
husband.
Yeah. So they're like, well, I was just talking to you. And she's like, and no more. That's it. We've done the introduction and now you're Eric. So it's funny that it jumps into that. So do you guys remember the first time that we met? I did this, I want to see if I can recall the memory.
So when
he's going to tell you his opinion, and I'm going to say if it's right or not.
Yeah. So I remember our first conversation. Like you were doing an open house here in Trenton. That's the first time that we had met. I mean, golly, I don't know how many years ago that was. I mean, I was probably licensed. Was that like 2019? Probably 2020-ish.
2020.
Okay. Yep. I mean, I just walked in and I saw this young kid, and I don't know. I did like you at the time, and it was funny because I was showing whoever the house. I was like, I'm gonna go work this guy. And I mean, you were super kind, super polite. I didn't know much about you, but honestly, like I got good vibes from you then. But yeah, that's the first time I remember meeting you, at least.
But then I didn't get to meet you guys until we met up for Cooper's Hawk. Around Christmas time that year. And I remember like Billy went to the bathroom and I looked at you guys and I was like, he's joining EXP. Like he doesn't have ways. So we left that day and I got in the car and I looked at him and I said, you would be an idiot to not join alongside
That
him.
is exactly what she said. She said, an idiot.
Which is flattering, and we appreciate
it. Now, this though, so met Eric. We didn't have any connection for a long time. We didn't work with you in that deal or whatnot. We've never done a deal together, actually, you and I, or us. But it was years later than I was at the broker where I was previously, and I was sitting there, no one at my open house, and I just saw that you guys were killing open houses. Like you were posting stuff. I'm like, what is this cat doing in regards to like his open house? Like it just looked really good. From what I saw, like you're just having major like attraction there. So I think I messaged you, and then we talked on the phone for like an hour. And then it was cool. Like you educated me for like 45 minutes, and the last little bit you just barely threw in the EXP stuff, which was cool. But then from there, it took a whole other year of you just doing nice follow up touches for me to eventually switch over. And then went to Cooper's Hawk. Amber told me I was an idiot if I didn't join you guys. And
shout out Amber.
You're welcome.
But seriously, I had felt the same, and sometimes you just need that extra, like, hey, it feels right, and if your wife agrees as well, like, bam, go for it. And it's been seriously one of the best decisions of my life for sure.
Yeah. So the open house, it was somebody we went to high school with, and I was running the open house, and you came through, and this was when the market was like crazy. So there was like 20 cars lined up. As soon as I opened the door, everybody rushes in, and then Billy and his clients came in, and I called Katie after because your clients, and I remember you telling me they were in the back, and you were like, they're awesome people. They're great. I love working with them. They're also very difficult. So the entire time I'm running this open house, there's 20 like people through here, and his clients are going through and they're like, look, there's a chip in the paint right here. And they're like trying to say it loud to scare everybody off. And I'm like, if you don't get your people out of here, like we're gonna have problems. Like, what are these? And they were there for the whole open house. But I do remember you talking to me and you were like, how'd you get this listing? Like, we work Trenton. I was just like, oh, it's friends. And you were like, sweet. Like, if you know anybody over here, let me know. I remember them submitting an offer and we ended up going with a different one, but it was like good terms that we left off on. Like, you were like, hey, it was awesome talking to you. So I just remember the clients, like you were like, yeah, they're kind of difficult. And I'm like, I'm going to punch.
Tell me who it is
I don't
later.
remember.
Oh, it was, and he called me after when he was submitting the offer, and he's like, I'm sorry, they were there like 2 hours. It was a 2 hour long open house. They were there the whole 2 hours.
And you don't
And
remember who it was?
I don't remember at all.
They were like pointing out every imperfection. I was just like, what is going, like I was still super young.
Do that way they could get the house. I was probably like, just scare everyone off. That's probably
Yeah. And you were like talking to me in the living room and they're like, oh, look at this. And I'm like, shut up. They're like opening up the like HVAC and they're like, oh, look, it's, 5 years old. And I'm like, I'm going to drop kick these people.
Yeah.
So funny that,
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny that we met that way and then, didn't do a transaction, but yeah, you called when we were running an open house. We had just moved down to Florida and open houses were really big for us to start our business. Everybody we talked to at EXP was like, that's a gold mine. So we were putting out 25 branded directionals in every neighborhood. We were putting a flag in the yard. Katie would sit at the open house and I would go door knock every neighbor's house and hand out little flyers. Yeah. And he called and it was a random evening and I was just like, I got time. Like, it's going to be slow. I don't even feel like door knocking. So we just talked, what are you doing for open houses? And I'm like, well, this is what we're doing. This is what's working. This is what's not working. And for us, it was just kind of cool to talk about it. But once you called, I'm like, I need to get this guy to EXP because I knew the business you did.
Yeah, he was working me for real.
Yeah, and I just knew we had like similar values and stuff because we had even talked the first time you had asked if we were faith-based and we talked about church and you guys talked about where you attended church. Me and Billy had discussed that. So when you called, I told Katie, I'm like, they would be perfect. Like they're the same, they're a husband-wife team, they're faith-based, they have the same like values and everything. I'm like, I would love to get them over. And it took a while, but couldn't be more thankful that it
You
did.
could have called me.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you said that. Like, it did take a while, and that's funny because you had mentioned like, hey, at one point, like you didn't think I was going to come over because it had taken so long, and I agree, it did take longer than it should have for sure. Because I should have made the switch years ago. Like I should have been the one hustling you, but you hustled me. Not where we are today. So.
Yeah. It's the crazy thing about it is when people are switching brokerages, and it's not even just EXP based, it's anywhere. Like there's so much to it that I think people don't realize. Like your active business, you're concerned about what's going to happen with that. The systems, getting the CRM up and running. It is a really big decision. And I interviewed EXP agents for 2.5 years before I jumped over.
Oh
so
God.
to me, I was like, if I just got to talk to somebody for 2 or 3 years and wherever they decide to go, that's great. But I know it's not going to be an immediate jump. I've almost never had a conversation. Somebody's like, hey, hand me the docs to sign over. Yeah. So, and I'm super glad we've been able to align the business and we're super like thankful for y'all and just being able to hang out with you guys. And we love being able to be in business with you. And it's been really, really cool to see how your business has grown. So we both got licensed in 2018. Did you start at Remax when you got licensed?
It was actually a little boutique brokerage right there in Trenton. It was Encompass, really. I think I might have been still with Encompass when I came to the open house.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, so it was Encompass. And then what happened was the brokers decided to join Remax. So then it was called Remax Encompass.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those first couple of years, what was business like? Did you start out hot? Were you doing just a couple deals? What did it look like for you?
I think I'll let Amber comment. I think I started pretty hot. Got it in March 2018. And the first year, it takes a little bit to get running your first year. First half year, because I did my first transaction in June. I did 12 transactions from June until December of that year.
That's good.
So then I met with, and yeah, please wasn't
I'm
right.
just kidding.
But then I met with the broker, end of year goals, like what are you planning for, 2019? And I was
Yeah.
like, hey, I did 12. I said, I want to double that and do some more. I had told him, I said, hey, I want to do 40. And then I had hit 40 plus the following
Yeah.
year.
That's insane.
And
What
then,
were you doing to get business? Because I think a lot of new agents, like I literally just got off a phone call before we
I'm gonna
started
take
this.
that one.
yeah, what was I doing,
So
babe?
I'll say this. Here's an unfair thing about Billy Huff is he knows everybody
Oh
and
yeah.
everybody loves him.
Yep.
So I feel like that's one thing we've been super blessed with, even in the what are we on year 8
Yeah, you're
now,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
is that a lot of our business comes from sphere of influence, our past friends, our past coworkers, our people that we meet with our kids being in sports. Like we have a lot of just really genuine connections with people. More
100%.
so Billy. Like I said, when you ask people about Billy, it's pretty sickening about how many people have like nothing bad to
Sickening.
say
You hear that?
about him.
Sickening.
Wrong. Does anybody not like you? So I think early on, a lot of our leads came from ministry. We worked in ministry from the start of our marriage on, so we had a lot of
Yeah.
connections, throughout church. But yeah, a lot of our stuff. I mean, initially and even now, it's just been people we know.
And that's what's
Yeah.
been really cool is like we haven't had to do like the lead source route where sometimes it can be hard to connect someone with like on a lead or whatever, but now we're getting like warm touches like, hey, a client
Yeah.
who we helped, hey, Billy and Amber did a really good job, we'd like to refer them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we have a super I only did 4 transactions my first year, and second was 11. So you beat me almost that first year alone.
you were also working though.
I
That's different.
was.
I
Yeah.
was not.
Yeah, and I think we have both like a super similar way of looking at business where it's like I didn't want to do leads. I never did leads up until we moved to Florida. Like I didn't prospect. Everything was sphere of influence. It was referrals. It was past clients. And I'm not the most extroverted person per se, but when I do like make connections with people, they tend to like me, I think.
Yeah.
So I always try to like build those connections, and that was how I grew my business. And a lot of new agents, when they get in the business, they want a simple solution. They want somebody just to say, here's a buyer, go show 5 homes, write a contract,
Yeah.
and make your commission. And I think that's something we have to teach newer agents is like you have to build those relationships. You have to build your confidence, but you have to stay in contact with people. You have to build a pipeline. And I'm sure you guys kind of see that with your team where people want, they're like, give me just business that's ready to close right now. And you're like, you have to build this up organically. Like that's how the business is supposed to be done. So do you guys see that right now?
Yeah, and I think it's hard too when you see a realtor who's absolutely crushing it to then like when you're just getting started be like, hey, why aren't things working for me? But
Yeah.
one thing we've really tried to focus on in our team is we've told them like, hey, it's consistency. Like you're not working for the now, you're working for 3 months from now, you're working for 6 months from now. Like the more work that you're willing to put in now, the more social media presence you have, you're going to see that. It may not be that instant return, but at one point I heard this analogy about real estate, and it's always stuck with us, is that when you think about real estate in terms of quarters, we get busy around April through August. So we call that kind of like our quarter 2 and quarter 3 where we're working in our business. But quarter 1 and quarter 4, we work on our business. So those are the times that you want to do your outreach to people, get touches with your past clients and things like that. So you can't get so caught up in the now of the contracts you have, pending the next 30 days, but you've got to kind of look forward. Or if you know that home buying season's coming up, starting to make those, touches with people, reaching out to them 3 months ahead. That way, if they're not ready to buy in January, you can make sure that when spring market hits in April, you've got them connected to the right people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say my team hates hearing this. The analogy I always use is it's like farming. I use farming and fishing, which I've never farmed, but I do like to fish. And I tell everybody, I'm like, when you're doing your business, like a farmer doesn't throw, seeds into the ground and plow and then, the next day go, okay, well, how come anything hasn't sprouted up? I tell people like you're planting seeds and 6 to 8 months from now is when you'll harvest the business. Mm-hmm. And there'll be times where you plant seeds and it's just, out of your control. Could be a drought, could be whatever it is. You might not yield all of the crop that you're wanting to, and then there'll be times where you plant the seeds and it's very bountiful. So I say that probably in our team meetings once a week, and they hate hearing it, but I'm like, you guys, like, the reason I keep repeating it is that's just how the business works. It's annoying. I would love to have a conversation and have somebody ready to buy a home tomorrow.
Yeah.
But most people, you have to find, there has to be a motivation to doing it.
Yeah.
There has to be a life change or a reason.
Yeah, and I've always told people the same thing. Like, you can't be a hidden agent. You got to let people know who you are.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we've always been really good in regards to, like, not just always like just straight business on our social media. We pour in our family. Like, our kids are involved in work stuff. A little bit about us. You see that we're real big into cats. We like Bengals. So people connect with that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
people will remember, like, hey, that goofball likes Gold Star, which Gold Star is the best, by the way. Putting a plug in for them. But
We'll clip that out.
Yeah.
that Gold Star is the best. But then you do like an educational piece too. Like, oh, he's not just straight goofy, but he's knowledgeable in real estate as well. So they'll be like, maybe they're driving through and they see Gold Star, like, yeah, but Billy Huff, he does real estate too. So we've really encouraged our agents to utilize things like that to grow their business. And I tell all of them, and they get annoyed by me hearing this, and I know you hate to hear it, but I'm like, hey, you got to make it at least, if you can get to year 5,
Yeah.
after that, you got it, because you get the referrals, you get the repeat business, the sales. A lot of people are selling at that time, but you got to bust your butt for 3 to 5 years, and then the business gets a lot easier from there.
And I think one thing that I try to point out to the newer agents too that we talk to is, if you think about when you're going to hire somebody, whether that's to paint your house, to redo a deck, like, when you look for companies, it will be hard for you to trust a brand new company who had never done a job before.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we tell them is, you need to get in there, you need to get busy, you need to take the open house opportunities, take the showings. Like, yes, you may be helping out another agent by doing so, but you're only gaining valuable insight and knowledge and experience that's, one, not only going to help you with those situations down the road, but it's going to show people, like, hey, they're not just saying they're a realtor. I see that they're running open houses. I see that they're busy in the business. So that's one thing we try to tell them is, you have to gain that experience before you expect somebody to trust you with probably the biggest transaction that they're going to go through in their life.
Yeah, that can't be better said. And Billy, I really like the 5-year thing, because I tell people all the time, like, there are some agents that I have seen that they jump in the business and they hit the ground running. They like, and you said you did, and I would say you almost did that. Like, 12 transactions your first year to 40 the next is insane. That's awesome growth. But I tell a lot of people, like, it took me 3 years to finally get to a point where it was like, okay, I can do this full time. And it took building up confidence, building up relationships, knowing how to talk to people. I always had to constantly fail forward. And the agent I just talked to before this, it was the same thing. He's going to be leaving the military. He's kind of looking at what he wants to do. And I'm like, you might jump into this and be super successful. I can't say that that's not going to happen, but I try to tell all of our agents, like, you have to make it to year 3, because year 3 is where 90% of real estate agents, it's the largest fail rate for any career. People don't realize that, because there's not a lot that it takes to get into real estate. And a lot of people get in the business and they think it's going to be super easy and they fail out. So I try to tell people, you have to stick past when most people fail, stick around, continue to be consistent, and it'll pay off. And we've seen it with our team members, like Manny comes to mind, where he was in the business for 2 years before he joined our team. And I told him, like, those first 2 years, like, they count, but you weren't necessarily, like, consistent. You weren't doing the right things. And, like, you have to give us a certain amount of time to be able to show you how to do it. And then, like, this year's been his best year by a mile.
He's crushing it, man. I see him
I
post
love
it,
working with Manny.
And he is so
Yeah.
polite. Like, seriously, I love, like, seriously, when you talk to him on the phone, he's got such a soothing voice. Like, he should, like, read book, like, do audiobooks or something, because like his voice is just so
He puts
smooth.
Billy to
I'm
sleep.
just like, just keep talking, dude. Like, it's like
Yeah.
it's like classic music to my ears. Like, I don't know.
Well, but the thing is like, when he first joined the team, he was close to bouncing out of the business. Like, we talked about it. And he was like, I'm gonna give you like 6 months. And I was like, no, like, give me a year to actually show you how to do business. And it took off. Like, it takes time, but I think a lot of people get in the business and they want the simple solution. And sadly, most of the time there's not that simple solution. Like,
There's not.
you have to build it organically. And I know you guys have done that, so I love being able to have that conversation to hear how you built it organically. So you went from 40 transactions, and then what happened there? Like, it just stayed consistent? What did it look like from there?
So
Then COVID happened.
COVID,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, basically, you remember COVID era, Eric and Katie. Like, you could sell a shed for $100,000 at that time.
Yeah.
So we had done 40, and then I think the year after we did 50 because that was 2019, and then COVID era happened. How many did we do that year?
74.
Was it
That's
70?
insane.
Yeah, we
that's
were
insane.
insane at that time. I still got. That's
Just
why.
me and Billy, 74.
Yeah, just me and her. It was too much,
Yeah.
honestly. I mean, of course, you take the business while you can get it, but man, it was a lot. And thankfully, our kids were younger, like they weren't involved in sports and all that at the time, so we had more flexibility in regards to
Commit to it.
showings and all that. But yeah, 74 that year was absolute.
I remember there would
mayhem.
be Saturdays we would get up and we would be gone for like 16 hours. And
Yeah.
like I
That's
remember
insane.
we used to have to we were trying to plan out showings, and you guys know like you're trying to calculate your drive time and you have to think about the client. Are they
Yeah.
quick in the house? Or are they going to need like a full 30, 45
Yeah.
minutes? Because there was a lot of times, especially during COVID, like agents weren't very generous with if you were late to your showing. I mean, so those were tricky times. It's funny though, because I don't know how many times we've joked like, man, we wish we could have the COVID market back. Like, not we want COVID back, but
Yeah.
Yeah, low interest rates.
the low
and, yeah,
interest
that was
rates,
great.
it was wonderful.
But after that, so we had 74 over 70 transactions. And I think that's one thing with business too. You think, oh, it's always going to be like this. Whether you have a bad
Yeah.
year, hey, it's always going to be like this. Oh, I had the best year ever. It's always going to be like this. So then, after the COVID stuff had died down, the past couple of years, market's been tough. It's been a lot
Yeah.
harder. Now, I will say, last year we closed 65 transactions as a group.
That's
So
insane.
that's our second biggest total. But it's still it's like, man, I would still love for COVID to come back in regards to all those transactions. But yeah, I mean, year over year now we look at 50 plus is what
Yeah.
we like to do.
But there's something to that, because you can pull up a ton of statistics. The market since 2023 has had the lowest volume count. 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026 is on pace for it. The lowest volume count of home sales since 1995. So that's 4 years in a row. And for real estate agents, for contractors, for inspectors, for lenders, like, when that volume count goes down, that affects agents. 2008, the market sucked, but volume was still high. And it was really tough conversations for agents to have with their clients, but you still had volume as an agent. You could still list a ton of homes. You could still sell a ton of homes. These last 4 years, I would say, for being a real estate agent or being a home inspector or something, they're the toughest 4 years in the business.
Yes.
So the fact that you guys have still been able to maintain that is crazy. And I don't know if you guys saw the stat recently. We're halfway through 2026 and we're recording this. 84% of real estate agents that are licensed, like NAR, have not had a single transaction to this point in the year. So you have 100 agents in a room, 84% haven't done 84 of them haven't done a single sale. And of the ones that have done more than 10, I think it's like 2 or 3%.
Wow.
So it's a really, really tough market to succeed. But, and we'll see agents, this always happens. We'll see the agent count go down. I think we'll see the people that, treat this as a business stay in the business. We'll start to see it kind of like volumes will increase for those that are still putting in the work, but it's not as widespread as it was. The COVID market, as bad as it sounds, COVID was awful. The COVID market was awesome because, like you said, the low interest rates. Inventory was kind of tough though. Like Cincinnati, I remember we had listings that had 25 offers on them, and trying to go through 25 offers with a seller and just being like, hey, here's 25 different purchase prices and inspections, and it got to be a lot.
But I think on the other side of that, I think it's made it a little bit more difficult now for sellers because most of our sellers still have the mindset of COVID market.
List high, it'll sell higher.
Have a lot of listings that, they've been on the market longer than even we've expected them to be. So I think it's, it's extra hard preparing sellers for that. And I feel like a lot of it too is our sellers who bought during COVID and felt like they had to give everything to get this house, now it's hard for them to agree to pay closing costs or agree to lower their purchase price because you're like, well, I didn't do that when I bought it. So that's been a struggle for us this
My
year.
kid's named after that agent. I had to name my baby after that agent to get the deal accepted.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. The stuff was insane. And the amount of showings and offers he would write. And
Oh my goodness.
we moved from Cincinnati in 2023. So the market, like Cincinnati and the Midwest as a whole, is still a pretty strong market. Like your list to sales price ratio, your average days on market. When we moved down to Tampa, it was a conundrum because we loved the fact that if we had buyers, it meant like you weren't in multiples. The market had started to soften. The peak was in 2022. But we also had sellers, same thing. Like they bought at the peak and now they were selling, and it's like you might lose money. Like the inventory, there was 20,000 homes listed, and in Cincinnati there was 2,000 homes listed. So it was definitely different. And buyers too, you would show them a home, they're like, this is literally perfect. And you're like, awesome, let's write up an offer. And they're like, well, there's 100 other homes we'd like to go see. And I'm like, why? Like, please don't do that to me. So, but I think now that we're down here and fully in business, we really appreciate the fact it takes longer to sell, but it's a more balanced market.
Yeah.
The sellers have a better understanding of what's going to happen. You can talk to them about the pricing. It's more reasonable. It's more what we would expect pre-COVID market. And I think Cincinnati is starting to kind of head that way finally. Which is nice.
That's how it's definitely felt this year for the most part. I would say even last year is kind of, more balanced, I would say. But even this year, it's becoming, like you said, more buyer friendly than it has in a couple years, which it's good and bad. Great for a buyer, maybe not so great for a seller. But that's why you just got to have those proper expectations with both parties, like in regards to what you're offering, but hey, in regards to your listing, like, hey, what do we price it at?
Yeah, and there's success to be had in every market. Like if the market's buyer friendly, surprisingly, we thought we'd only want to work with buyers when we moved down here because we're like, there's so much inventory. And like I always got told the advice like list to last. And I remember when I was young, I was like, that's so dumb. I didn't like listing properties weirdly. Like I was like, I love working with buyers. I love going and seeing homes. And now that I've been in the business, I'm like, yeah, list to last. Like, yeah, I'm like, it's much better.
I don't know, because, and I know we've talked to you guys a little bit about this, like we miss our buyers. Like we've been very listing heavy this year, which in past years we would have killed for.
Yeah.
We kind of miss some of the buyers and
the excitement that a buyer has.
And I think it's because it's a buyer's market. It's easier to have buyers right now because like I said, we're
list heavy.
We're very listing heavy, and we're having to coach our sellers through, hey, this isn't the market that we were in a couple years ago. And I'll be honest with you, it's been tough for me to see some clients be, pretty hard on Billy about why their house isn't selling, and it's nothing that he's doing. And a lot of them we can't figure out why. Houses that we anticipated to go pending in under 2 weeks that are still there 3 or 4 weeks into the month. They're priced appropriately. They're great homes that 2 years ago would have had 25 offers the day it was listed. So
yeah,
I miss some of our buyers.
Yeah, for sure.
We still like working with buyers. There's sellers and buyers that we like working with. Like there's some sellers where I'm like, all my hair's gonna fall out, which isn't ideal. I don't look good bald. And it's the same with buyers. And then there's some sellers we work with that are very reasonable. Like I think it's just client expectations. And we've been a lot more like stringent like this year. I think we did 2 listing appointments last week where we just told the sellers based off the price they wanted, we just weren't the agents for them. So we removed our name from it. 'Cause I'm like, I'm not going to list this 100K over. And I could already tell, I'm like, and you're going to call me every week and be like, why hasn't this sold? And if you're not going to take my advice on the pricing, let another agent have it. They can deal with those conversations. So it's educating the sellers and understanding like, hey, this is how the market's changed. Same with the buyers. Like do you guys have buyers trying to lowball everything by chance?
Yeah, okay. Everyone right now feels like they got to get a deal. Even if it's $10, everyone's got to get a deal. Like and I think that's just life. Everyone has to feel that they won.
Yeah.
Like Amber and I, we're very competitive. I mean, we were playing ping pong last night, and it was a knockout, drag out.
Because he created new rules in the middle of the game.
I'm playing the official.
As you should.
I'm playing the official ping pong, the normal rules, and she's like, "We don't play like that with." I'm like, Well, with the girls, it's different.
Back to
Yeah.
buyers.
Yeah.
He's like, house rules do not apply here. We are playing by U.S. standard ping pong.
Yeah.
I think more so even with the low ball offers, we have a lot of people wanting to request pretty lengthy defect notices, things
Yep.
that aren't really things that we should be asking for. They're minor, routine, cosmetic type things. So that's been something else to coach people through too. Like, hey, just because something's near the end of its life, but it's still working perfectly now, like you can't expect the seller to replace that. In your home, would you replace your air conditioning if it was still working great just because it was
Probably not.
6
Older.
years old? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's
We've noticed the same. And I think it's partly because buyers are seeing the mortgage payment with interest rates and the purchase
Yes.
price. And they're like, if I'm going to pay this, like I want it to be perfect.
100%.
And yeah, and I just don't think like, even if you buy a new build, if you do inspections, there's stuff that pops up.
Yep.
So, it's a part of owning a home. And we've had a lot of conversations with buyers. Like I always tell them ahead of time, like, you're going to get this 100-page inspection report and you're going to be like, how are you letting me purchase this property? And 97% of it is stuff that's just changed with code over time, And it's not an actual defect. It's just, you double tap a breaker back in the 90s, people didn't care. You double tap a breaker nowadays and they're like, the whole house is going to blow up. And it's like every panel I've ever seen has a double tap. Like it's okay, so it's definitely changing for sure. What are you guys doing business wise to account for that change? Are you changing anything you're doing or are you keeping going?
I would just say just more communication up front, like you said. Like before, it just felt like everybody would give up anything, like on the buying side at first. Like people were like against our expertise, our how we're talking to them. Like people were like waiving inspection. I was like, no, don't waive an inspection. That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's just proper communication up front.
managing expectations.
Yeah, just tell them like, hey, like you had mentioned, Eric, in regards to the inspection stuff. Hey, this is how the process is going to work. Connecting them with a good loan officer, that's huge. I mean, if you
Yeah.
connect them with somebody out of state who, let's be honest, they don't care about them, they don't know them. Like it just when people work with loan officers like that, the whole transaction's already shaky from the get. They're already scared and they feel like you as the agent and the loan officer are just trying to push the deal through, and it's like, no, we're looking out for your best interest here. It's just you pick someone stinky to handle your financing. That's why you're already on edge.
Stinky guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see that a lot too. The lenders that you partner with make a huge difference. And as agents, like our job is like typically we try to send 2 to 3 lenders because I don't want them to I want to call them, shop them, talk to them. These are people we've worked with, we've vetted, we know how they're going to operate. But from there, it's who do you click with personality wise? Who are you going to get the best rate from, the best closing costs? But we see it all the time, like lenders that just don't care if they work for, I'll say a big bank. I'm not going to mention any bank names, but they don't care. They're salaried. Like if it closes, they make the same amount. And so therefore, like they're not going to pick up their phone at 5 p.m. because they're going home. They're like, I'm making $50K a year, whether this closes or not. When you work with like a direct lender or a broker or something like that, they don't get paid unless it closes and you're happy, and they don't get referral business unless it does. So the interaction's completely different. Are you guys still just building your business mainly off sphere of influence, past clients, referrals? Have you thrown anything else in there?
No, I mean, we've signed up for a couple, like the pay at close lead service companies like that. I've tooled around with that a little bit this year. Is the lead quality great? No. Have I had some success with it? Sure. But for the most part this year, and it's always been like this for us, we just, like Amber said, we've been really blessed in regards to repeat business. Unfortunately, life happens, divorce, death, that kind of stuff. So, hey, we're there to help people through, every transition of life. So that's how we build our business. But again, just adding small lead sources here and there, just to, try to fill in the gaps at times.
We do more of like, I would say rather than paying for leads, we try to use that money more for like community outreach. Because we are from a very small town where I feel like that speaks more to people. If they see that you're involved and you're giving back, they're more likely to support your small business. So that's kind of a mentality we try to have.
Yeah, we've always been real good, like Amber said, in regards to giving back. Like we usually well, not usually. We do every year. We give everybody a Christmas ornament that is closed with us, and that is a huge hit. Like people love that.
Yeah.
We actually just ordered. I know Eric's gonna like this. We just ordered Bengals magnets that all our past clients get. Who Day. They're open up in
Circle,
Orange, by the way.
Circle
Uh,
week one, that's a loss. You know,
no,
Tampa Bay
absolutely
Buccaneers
not.
traveling up.
Absolutely not.
But even outside of our clients, like we try to run outreach programs.
Yeah.
So like our back to school drives coming up, where we try to give free school supplies, and we've got some local hair salons and barber shops that are partnering with us this year to do free haircuts for the kids, and that's kind of, I know, and we didn't get much into it, but our mentality is before we did real
I was
estate,
getting ready to say that.
we
Yeah.
were paycheck to paycheck. We were struggling. We were both college graduates and still were not financially
I mean, we had
comfortable.
$50 in our bank account at one
So
time.
we
It's
remember
insane.
what that's like. So we want to take what we have to bless other people. And I feel like it's come back tenfold for us when people see how genuine we are and that we're not just super salesy. So we really try to do right by our community, and I think that's been a big business supporter for us.
Yeah, 100%. And then that's a big thing, and I think you guys can speak to that a little bit too. It's like we don't forget where we came from. I mean, we both came from parents' households, paycheck to paycheck, and then same thing when we started, hey, paycheck to like literally there's nothing here. Like, what are we going to do? I mean, we were struggling there for a bit, and then with Amber like pushing me to like join real estate, I had worked with a realtor, and she's like, hey, just do 5 transactions a year. You can do 5. And I was like,
Yeah.
I told Amber, I was like, well, sure. If she said I can do 5, I'll do 5. And, God just had other plans. And it's just blown up from there. Like I said, the 12 to the 40 to now we're averaging 50 year every year. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's the way to grow the business. Like I've done all of there's a couple things in there I want to talk about, but we've done all of the leads you could possibly think of. I've done Zillow, I've done Realtor, I've done Homes.com, I've done the paper leads, I've done listing referrals, I've done Facebook leads, Google pay-per-click, Instagram leads, all of them. And yeah, there's closings to be had in it, 100%. But the connection's usually not there, the trust usually isn't there. And for us, we didn't do any of that till we moved to Florida. Ohio was always relationship based, and we're like, we need to just get back to that. Like that's the part we enjoyed. If somebody wants to work with us, they want to work with us. We're always going to go above and beyond to make sure they're happy. If that means I have to cut commission here or there to make it happen, or we helped a client move on moving day, a couple weeks ago, ordered the truck, got the movers, and I spent my entire day moving a home. And it's like, because I want them to be happy, it's super stressful. And I think a lot of agents get lost with that. And when it becomes a pay per lead or lead sources, it removes that relationship because you're just worried about the next lead that's going to come in. Can you convert it? When you're building it through relationships and sphere of influence and referrals and past clients, you're going to do the best job you can because that is where you're going to get all of your business. So I think we agree wholeheartedly there. I do want to talk about, so when you got into real estate, what was it just like random? How did you end up being like, I'm going to get my real estate license?
Do you want to? Yeah, go
I'll
ahead,
take it.
babe.
So I had actually just finished nursing school, so I was kind of getting ready to start my job, like that few weeks of like orientation and such. We had Laura at the time. She was 10 months old, and Billy's mom, who was wonderful in her life calling was to be a grandma, kept Laura for us, like when I was going to work. And Billy actually worked for he was like a customer service, like
At Liberty
billing
Mutual.
representative.
It was bill and billing. That was my line.
And unfortunately, a month after I started working, which was, we got to the point where like, great, we've got 2 paychecks coming in.
We were
We're
like,
gonna get
great, let's
caught
go.
up.
Yeah.
Billy's mom actually had a massive heart attack and died. And it was really hard for us because she was always very adamant that she never wanted her grandkids going to daycares or anything, just because of the trust situation with how things happen.
And it was funny that she always talked about that because we were like, Mom, you're going to watch
Yeah,
Laura.
like, you've got her, like, you're fine.
But yeah, it's like she knew almost.
So for a couple weeks, like, we looked at daycares and what they would cost. It was about what Billy was making anyways. So I told Billy, I said, quit your job and be a stay-at-home dad for a little bit and we'll figure it out. So he didn't love his job that he had, and he had originally thought that he wanted to go back to be a teacher and work in education. And I was like, maybe sub a couple times first. And I remember he subbed a couple times and he came home and he's like,
It's
That's
because
not for me.
kids aren't like, me. I've always been very respectful, very kind. Like, I wasn't a troublemaker. I wasn't the teacher's pet by any means, but hey, I'll give you respect. I'm not going to be a distraction, that type of
Yeah.
thing. But man, kids nowadays, they can be rough. Like, I told Amber, I was like, listen, I can't do this.
He would have been fired.
I was like,
It would have been bad.
because I'm like, hey, if you're going to be disrespectful, like, I'm going to call you out on it. Like, that's not right. Like, we got time. This is what we're here for. Bam. And like Amber said, like, I went 2 or 3 times. I was like, this is not going to work.
So we were like, we don't know what Billy's going to do. And there was one day I was talking to him and I said, listen, you love people. Like, you love meeting people. You love conversating with people. That's what Billy wants to do. And I said, why don't you try real estate? And little did we know that one conversation blossomed into all of this 8 years later.
And it was pretty cool because seriously, we had no money in our account. And we were like, what do we do? We talked to the broker. He's like, yeah, go ahead and get your license. I think it would be good. Hey, do you have like a payment plan where I can start? No. So I actually had to go take out, the first time I had ever done this, go take out a credit card on Chase.
Holy crap.
It's nerve wracking because, the class is roughly, $1,500, $2,000. And I told Amber, like, hey, well, I'm going to charge this. Are we cool with it? And she's like, yeah, let's go ahead and see what happens. And I was like, if I can close one, we'll pay it back. And we won't have that debt. But yeah, like Amber said, that one conversation, fortunately with my mom and stuff, like, I don't know where I would be if that didn't happen. But that's just, the cool thing about God is that he'll take bad things and he'll bring good out of them. So.
Yeah. I didn't know any of that first part of the story. And I think the fact that God has brought you guys to where you are, and I know your mom's looking down on you and proud of you, and the dad you are, and the agent you are, and the people's lives you get to change. So it's one of those where it's like, in the time, like the fact that you guys had to struggle and go through that, I think it makes you the people you are. And the fact that that's the kind of stuff that it shows through with your clients because you care. And the people that surround you, like even not your clients, like us, like you're always, you always care. You always want to know how other people are doing. So it's a really...
That was one of the things I had to like work on him initially, is because he is so pure-hearted. Like, many people tried to take advantage of him early on, and I would like be in the background, like hearing these agents talk to him, and I'm like, they're not going to talk to my husband like that. I'm like, okay, he's got to grow a backbone because... Yeah,
I was a pushover at first, for sure.
he was a softie. He still is. He's still wonderful, but he can at least... he holds his own.
I'm still a crybaby at heart. I've grown up a lot, that's for sure.
I'm the same way, and Katie used to listen to my phone calls, and like I'm the same way. Like I always just want to see the best in people, and I always want to think like everybody is the greatest. Like nobody has bad intentions or anything. And we'd get off calls. And Katie would just be like, "What? Like, how dare they?" And I'm like, "What? Like, it's okay. Like, I'll get it figured out." And like, people will talk, and she's just like,
"Why are you still talking to this person? Like, just hang up. Like, there's no reason for you to continue this conversation."
Katie, there was one time I took the phone out of his hand because we were in the car driving, and it was actually a seller's daughter who wasn't even involved in the transaction at all. Who said she was a lawyer. She's like telling Billy she's going to sue him and all this stuff. And she made the comment, she's like, I Googled this. And I'm thinking,
we just...
So I like grabbed the phone. I'm like, listen, if you want to try to sue us, we didn't do anything wrong. You can go back to your law degree on Google, like whatever you need to do. And I like hung up the phone and he just like looks over at me and I'm like, we're not doing it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
There's something that's like never talked about amongst real estate agents. I don't know why, but like you're dealing with the public, and the largest financial decision they'll make. The amount of people you run into that are like really mean, really disrespectful, really angry, like all of these things. And we've been very blessed. We have amazing clients, but I've had clients just like lose their stuff. Like I had one client, he got mad. It wasn't even at me, it was at the other agent. And in the background was having like a temper tantrum. He was like punching his steering wheel. And I'm like, you're a 50-year-old guy buying a home. Like, we're still going to buy it. We're getting this all figured out. It all worked out. And I'm like, he was screaming at the top of his lungs in traffic, punching his steering wheel. Yeah. And then it got solved like 20 minutes later. And then like I called him and you could just tell he was like embarrassed because it's like you're acting like a 2-year-old and I'm trying to help you. And this other agent is very difficult. That's out of my control, but we'll get it figured out. And I'm like, you just like blew up over nothing. So the stuff we see on a daily basis, the clients, the people, I think it's like not talked about ever.
No.
And it's like, it's the same if you go to a restaurant, people are like, be nice to your waiter or waitress.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, be nice to your real estate agent. Like,
For real.
obviously there's bad real estate agents, and I get it. There's probably something for that. But for the most part, a lot of agents are trying to make a living, trying to earn a paycheck, trying to do right by you. And then you're not being a nice person. So shame on you. So
Yeah, for sure.
I do think we deal with that less though, and you guys may feel this way too, since you have been so relational, is because there's that almost personal connection. I don't feel like we maybe have a handful of clients I can think about over the last 8 years that I'm like, I would not want to work with them again. But I do think because we've been able to build this organically with, you know, people we know in our sphere of influence, because we're not having to take the one-off leads who, you know, those are just random situations. I do feel like we get less crazy because of it.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's just more, it's less stressful. I feel like it's just like when you get a warm connection, it's just like it's almost like family. Like we're immediately friends. That's super cool.
yeah. Yeah, I've only fired one client ever, and it got to the point where just like, it was within like 2 days of listing her home. And somebody had a child that used her restroom, and she called me and she was like, they used the restroom. And I was like, I apologize. I'll have somebody come clean your house. Like, I totally understand. You know, some people don't like that, and I get it. And she was just going off. Like, she's like, the kid could have held it. He could have went outside and peed. And I'm like, I will never, as an agent, tell a kid to go outside and pee. I didn't show the property. I was just a listing agent. And she just like, she went off, and she's like, the kid could have held it. I don't even care if something happened to him, if his bladder ruptured. And I was just like, end of conversation. Here's the release. Only person I've ever fired. I was like, good luck. Like, whatever you have going on in your life, I want nothing to do with it. Like, it was crazy.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's the only person I've ever fired. And I've maybe deleted like 2 or 3 numbers of past clients where they just like were very crazy. They ended up buying or selling. And then afterwards, like months later, they were just off the wall. And I was like, and delete. Like, that's the end of the conversation. Have a good life. So, but there's definitely.
A funny kid story we have is, so when Billy first started real estate, I was working full-time as a nurse. So a lot of times Laura had to go along to the showings. So, you know, the first couple years, like she started from the time she was 10 months, you know how they like start to walk and they're getting in things. And he was showing a house to somebody he went to high school with. And
Still good friends with them.
Still good friends with them. And Laura was just running around. It was a house that nobody lived in. So Billy's thinking, okay, it's fine.
There's
it's empty.
Here.
Well, she managed to go find like a toilet bowl cleaner in the bathroom and went into a room that had white carpet, blue toilet bowl cleaner all over. So Billy calls me. He's like, I've got to run home. I've got to get our carpet cleaner. I've got to go try to clean this.
I was scared to death because, you know, first starting, you don't have much money in your account.
Yeah.
What's funny is his client, his friend from high school, ended up buying the house. So
you're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they still live there. Yeah, they still joke that we still see that mark there. Which like, I'm just throw a rug over it, but yeah.
Yeah, he was sweating that day.
Yeah. Do you, because I brought Daniel along. Stay-at-home dad thing, I resonate with completely. Because my mom works full-time, and then my dad was never really in my life. So when we had Daniel, I told her, I'm like, I don't want, like, I didn't have my parents around a ton. I was like, I don't want to, like, have Daniel grow up in that exact same situation. So even when we were going to college, I was like, I'm going to find a way to be home. Like, I don't care what it is. This was before remote work. I was like, I will find a way. I joked with Katie all the time. I was like, find a really good job where I can be a stay-at-home dad. Like, I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll vacuum, whatever you need. Daniel, from a very young age, went with me to showings. Like, I'd bring books in the car, and that was like the child care. So did you, relationship-wise, did that help a ton? And then just even like Daniel wants to be a real estate agent. Like, that's his life goal. Why? I don't know. Because I'm like, you see what we go through. Is it the same with your kids where they're like, we want to be real estate agents? Or they're like, no, mom and dad go through it?
I mean, I think our kids still now don't truly understand like all that we go through. We try to keep that away from like the negative
Yeah.
aspects of it. I mean, our one daughter, she's saying she wants to be a vet right now, and then our youngest, Kate, she said since she's been born and been able to talk that she wants to be a police officer.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
I said, Kate, listen, I said, there's this thing called a loan officer. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, same officer.
At times she thought it was just super cool, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Kate, like,
Oh,
That's
not
too
the,
sweet.
not the
you can
same
still get her a
thing.
badge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll
I-
get you a badge.
I try to get Daniel.
So that's Billy's. He's trying to steer that way, and I'm like, oh, that would be a great sphere of influence, Kate. And there's grants for police officers to help them buy houses. Like you could do both.
Yeah, thinking
I've
18
already
years
told
ahead.
them, like, hey, you guys would be silly not to get your real estate license because, honestly, and I know we've all talked about this, like, our goal is to leave something big for them because, nothing's ever been left for me.
Yeah.
Nothing's been left for Amber, like, huge like that. I want to leave something huge to my kids to bless them, even when I'm gone. Like, hey, for that revenue share to keep going to them, like, that's cool. That's life-changing stuff. And that's
Yeah.
why I told them you would be crazy to not join this journey that, me and mommy have built. And again, they're young, but, they're 10, almost 10, and then 7. So, which is hard to believe,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But, so we got a while until that point, but
I think when it comes time for them to like talk about going to college, they're going to be like, I'd rather take my 3-week class and start working.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, college, we both got our degrees and we both don't use them. It was unnecessary. Like, thank goodness we both had scholarships because if I had the student loan, like the stuff that people go through is just, it's insane. And it's everybody's fed it in high school to think that way. And there's all these different businesses and trades, and it doesn't have to be real estate. It could be, plumbers and electricians now are making like 250 grand a year with no student debt and can grow a business. So yeah, we tried to get Daniel into the NFL. I was like, you want to be an NFL player? Like, that's what you want to do.
Or
He's
the
like,
big
no.
one.
Yeah, he's like, no, I want to be a real estate agent. I'm like, no. I'm like, you got to play for the Bucks. Like, give me some free tickets. Let's make this happen. So,
I
You
love,
can do
I love
both.
seeing him all dressed up like I remember he did that for that career day or whatever. You came, you guys both came
Yeah.
and talked, and he was all dressed up. I was like, my guy, like he looked really good. Like that's really
he's
cool.
snazzy, man.
He
He's
really
snazzy.
is.
Yeah.
I wonder where he gets it from.
Yeah, and he does, like, he loves the real estate side of it. Like, he asks us questions, we have him work, we pay him, he does stuff, and it's so weird. Like, he
That's
does
cool.
take to it. Yeah, so
We have to be careful sometimes though taking our girls because at least our oldest, she's very honest and she's
Oh,
very
yeah.
opinionated, and it's like she wants to pick things out for people, and we're like, shh. Like
Yeah.
she'll walk in, she'll be like, "Mom, this house stinks," and I'm like, "Laura, like they have like a Ring doorbell camera. Like, please stop."
Oh no.
Daniel does that too.
Daniel does it too.
He'd be a better inspector than an agent.
Yeah, because he went all of the flips we did. He went with us with the contractors, and we had some amazing. I'll shout out like Adam Holden if he sees this. Like he loved Daniel, so he would take him around and be like, "This HVAC needs replaced. These floors need replaced," and he would show Daniel it. So then we'd take Daniel on showings, and he became like Adam, but to like regular retail clients. So he's like, "Oh, the HVAC's like 5 years old. It's gonna have to go," and I'm like, "Shut up! What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But he would just go, and like he'd point out, he's like, baseboard's kind of beat up here, and I'm like, dude, like just let them walk the house.
For
So
real.
it's super funny. So when you guys, obviously, you joined EXP, did you have any conversations with anybody before us? But also, like, how familiar with the brokerage were you?
I was not familiar at all. Now, I will say that at my previous broker, I'll be honest, I think that kind of goes with everybody. They think that what they have is the best.
Yeah.
I get that. And they had always pushed us, there was always conversations like, yeah, EXP, like it wasn't looked good upon. So, again, trusting my broker, hearing that and not knowing, I'm just like, like why would I want to join that? Like you hear cloud-based, like what the heck is cloud-based? Like am I going to be in a cloud? Like that sounds kind of cool, but kind of not. So I had no idea. But I'll be honest, like the reason that we changed, first thing was, hey, it allowed us to make a little bit more money. We were considering because we were paying a lot in fees and stuff, or just where we were with the cap structure there.
Yeah.
But also just the morale. Like at the time, it just wasn't, in our opinion, great. It wasn't good for growth, and it just felt like we were having almost like mental block there. Like we couldn't be
Burnout.
yeah, burnout. That's what it was. It was burnout. Like we just had creative block. We just feel like we could do things how we wanted to do them. So, prior to our open house call, Eric, I had actually, just kind of put some feelers out there. I had put out feelers to Plumtree, another brokerage that's kind of big here down in our area. And then I put out feelers to Real Brokerage as well, which that is cloud-based.
Yeah.
And that's just based on one of the podcasts that I listened to, because he was actually at EXP, Dustin Brome, if you've heard of him.
Yep.
He was at EXP, and then he jumped to Real, and he talked how it's the best thing ever. And then, of course, with our conversation with you, and again, like, it was hard for us to leave because we had been there since 2018, and we've only been with EXP just over a year now. And my big thing is, like, I hate change like that because it's huge. Like you said earlier, like, hey, your listing's got to change, your signage, like, all that stuff has to change. And I just told Amber, I was like, listen, I want to go to a place where I know, at least for a long time, I'm not changing again.
Yeah.
And that led to the conversation with you. And, I'll be honest, you guys could have been anywhere, and we probably would have followed you guys. But we had literally no idea about EXP, didn't understand when you hear revenue share and you hear all these different tools and all that, you're like, well, it's like, I just like to sell houses.
I don't know what they're talking about, but let's do it.
Yeah.
And then I had saw like what Gordon and Tidra had done and what you guys had done. I was like, hey, they started out just like husband and wife or just solo agent, and look how they have grown. Like, why can't we do that? And then, like I said, we popped the office last year. We got that up and running. It looks awesome, by the way. And, we have 4 agents underneath us, and, it's pretty cool. Agents reach out to us now asking for advice and stuff. It's cool.
Well, and I think one of my favorite things too, being on more of like the title side, I was at a breakfast the other morning with Mike. He's my title boss. He owns the company. And we were meeting with a loan officer, and he's like, I'll tell you, he's like, this like green, gross Huff thing that they've got going on, he's like, it's nothing you've ever seen before. He's like, for these people to be in competition with each other, you'd never know it. Like, they're always supporting each other and sharing each other's listings. And I thought about that this morning before we hopped on the call. That's something we never had. And it's so cool now that not only do we feel supported, but we feel like we can support other people. Whereas I feel like those first couple years of real estate, we wanted to like steal everything, not steal, but hold on to everything that we had, because that was our money, that was our bread.
That was our ideas. We came up with that. Where now it's like, hey, we came up with this. Like, here, Eric and Katie, here, Gordon and Teacher, or anybody that's in our group. And
and you've been the best at that. Anything Katie does, she's like, hey, I'll send it to you. Here's a template. And that's been such a weird mindset for us from where we came.
Well, when that first happened, I was like, what's like the catch here?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for
actually,
like in the mail, like, hey, that was like $1,000.
We're sending you all the stuff that doesn't work, and then it's like everything else that does work, we're keeping it. We're like, peace out.
Yeah.
There's people outside of this little family that's not really little anymore, that we're growing between you guys and us and the Greens. Like, people on the outside are starting to notice it too, and they're like, hey, they've got something different there that we're not used to seeing in real estate. And I think that's a really cool testament to you and Katie, what you guys started and how
you guys started. That's
how
cool.
you built this. So you guys
I think that's like the problem with traditional brokerages, and it's not just a cloud-based thing. And if a traditional brokerage took what EXP was doing, they could do a really good job. But when we talked to Gordon and Tidra yesterday, like, both of us had, and I know you had the same experience, people at your office don't want to help. They see you as a complete direct competitor.
Yeah.
And I understand it because, that's the person who's in your marketplace, but there's no collaboration. There's no growth per se. Everybody wants to keep everything hidden. The EXP model, when you bring somebody on, or when you're their sponsor, or they're in your downline, like, you want them to succeed. That's the whole point of it. Like, if you're not succeeding, then there's no real reason for you to be at the brokerage. There's like a financial tie to, hey, I really want you to do well. And that lined with us like super organically, because we wanted to help people. We wanted to be able to grow something. We thought about opening our own brokerage before we joined EXP, and we're like,
we did too.
Yeah. And we're like, we can just join EXP and have our own brokerage inside this brokerage that has training and support and the models, and we can go outside of a state. We can have all of these different tools at our resource and still build it how we want to. And it was a huge mind shift for us, because, the upline, when we first joined, Cam Smith and Bobby Martins and Pete Middleton and Mitch Ryback, like, they were calling me and they're like, how can we help your business? I'm like, why do you care about me?
Dude,
Like,
I was gonna say that like Cam is so good. Like shout out to Cam because like seriously, like first started, you had introduced me to him, and that dude has got some energy. By the way, like I energy. Like sometimes I need that sometimes, and that dude comes
yeah,
on it's like boom right in the face. Like you were
yeah,
listening to it, and you're gonna be there for the ride, and it's
yeah,
awesome. Like you had said, first joined, you introduced me to Cam. He's diving into me, and I know Cam's superstar, like a rock star. Then he's introducing me to Pete, who's the head of luxury at EXP, and Pete's reaching out to me like, "Hey, let me know what I can help you with." And I'm like, "What? Like this dude
yeah,
cares about little old me?
yeah.
Like,
Little
oh yeah,
old.
little me, not little old. Little. I mean, he's a rock star. Like these are huge players in EXP, and it's crazy. I got him on my phone. I can reach out to him anytime. Like if I was at Remax or any other brokerage, it don't matter where I was. Like, there's no way I'd have access to
You can't
people
even get your
like
broker to
that.
answer the phone there.
Yeah, like there's no way I could
100%.
reach out to him, and that's what's so cool is like we all went to Nashville together. We hung out with
Yeah.
Pete and Mitch and all those guys. Like we're getting one-on-one time with guys that are making millions of dollars per year. But what's cool is that they don't care about that. They care about giving back to others, and that's it's been so cool.
Yeah, 100%. I think just like being able to go to Miami with you. Amber's going to be going next. She's already called dibs, so you can't.
Amber's there. Not
Yeah,
all,
but
but Amber will be there.
yeah. So like just Miami and Nashville, but being able to talk to people that are super successful, and for us, it was always like surround yourselves with the people you want to be surrounded by. And like it doesn't matter what brokerage it's at. For me, I want to be surrounded by people that are very successful because you're the average of the 5 people you're near, and you can do that at traditional brokerages. There are like little cliques and stuff. But again, nobody was sharing anything. There wasn't the help or support. Like I reached out to agents all the time. And a lot of times it was just like, hey, keep trying, like you'll be successful. And I was like, I'm doing that and it's not working. And nobody was like, yeah, nobody was like, here's a hand. Like they were like, no, dude, you're like a 22-year-old, peace out, like get out of my face. So and now to be able to have other agents and like your guys' team members and the Greens team members and the people just in the downline that we're able to support and help. And a lot of them have seen growth in their business, which is really cool. Like that's the part that's kind of awesome is like once you bring them on, being able to help hold their hand in the same spot you were in when you started, seeing these agents in a similar spot and saying like, okay, we can get you here if you want to. They have to have the want to, but we can get you here, and this is how we're going to do it. So it's really cool.
That's cool that you had said that because there's the agents on our team. I won't say names here, but a couple of them, like I know they were at least in a similar boat to when Amber and I first started. Like we heard one of them, one of our agents last year, she absolutely crushed it. Like she did awesome. And it
Yeah.
was cool because she had told Amber, she's like, "Hey, I'm going to go buy my kid a PS5." Like I
For
know,
Christmas,
for
yeah.
Christmas, which a couple $100, $500, which is expensive. Not going to lie there. But she's like, "Hey, if it wasn't for real estate and what you guys have provided to me, what you guys have done and allowed me to do, there's no way I could have afforded this." So it's just so cool to hear those success stories with our agents. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of it, and it is really cool. And again, like for us, like we're just super appreciative to have you guys and to be in business with you and to partner with you. And we align so much on the values and stuff, but really just like be your guys' friends, and that's the really cool part of the business for us. Real estate is always going to be real estate. We're always going to deal with buyers and sellers that drive us nuts. Even when you have sponsees or whatever, like people in your downline on the agent side, you're going to get calls where you're like, come on, like, what are we doing here? But it's really cool because a lot of the people we've been able to bring on, like we end up becoming friends. We want to see their success. We hear their goals. We hear where they want to go. And then it's like, okay, like we have the ability to make that happen. If you want to give the energy, like we have the ability to help out, give you what's worked for us, or at least be that motivational piece. Like you said, Cam Smith, one of one, won't find another Cam Smith. Like, no, like, but you have a conversation with him, and it's the same way. Like when we first moved down to Florida, I was calling him every day, and I'm like, I have no clue what to do. Like I'm lost. And he's like, well, just do this, and he would call me and be like, how's it going? Like, don't stress. It's summer months. It's slow, and then it built up, and so to find people that actually care, like that's what we've found with our group, everybody that's in it, and we're super thankful for it.
And that's what's so cool about the group. Like you had said, like, hey, You know, you guys are in Florida, jealous. The Greens, they're down in Cincinnati. They live closer there. But even though, like, you know, at times we're in competing markets, like, we're all really close friends. And it's cool. Like, we don't see you guys all the time, but when we have the opportunity to do, you know, something like this, or we get to meet at an event or whatever, it's like we've known you guys for years.
It's like family.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we're super thankful for you guys. I love hearing the story, and we plan on doing more of these. Like I want to do kind of like these are introduction ones, and then do a deeper dive into your business. Because one of the things I really want to talk about as we do these is like, what do agents struggle with? What do we see? How can agents improve? What has worked for us? Because every agent's different, you know, sphere of influence might not work if you're in a new area and things like that. So we definitely want to bring you guys back on, talk about what you see agents struggle with, what you see they succeed with, and kind of dig more into the business. But we wanted this just to be a kind of introduction to two amazing people. So thank you guys so much for taking the time.
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I hope you know how much we love you, and we consider you our family. And honestly, not only did real estate change our lives, but you guys changed our lives when we joined alongside of you. And it's been the best business and personal relationship building decision we've ever made. So we think the world of you guys, and I hope you know that.
Yeah, absolutely. We love you guys too, and we're super thankful for you, and being able to head up Taco Bell with baby Billy at 3 a.m. So nothing better than that.
We gotta get you a nickname because we got Grandpa Gordon. I got Baby Billy. We gotta find something for you.
I don't know. Baby Billy's about as top as it gets. I don't think you're gonna beat that nickname.
Because Katie would need she just needs to be like Princess Katie.
I do like Princess Katie. That's cute.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. You guys can come up with like some terrible name for me, and I'll just be like, sweet. So
what? We don't have a name for Eric, do we?
No, that's what I'm saying. We gotta come up with one.
No nicknames are necessary. No, but we appreciate you guys so much, and truthfully, just to have you guys a part of it, like it makes it for us. We could have nobody else join us at EXP, and if it's just the group we have, like I'm thankful for the support, the friendship, like everything. So, and we love to see your guys' success, and we know that it's just gonna keep growing. Like I can't wait to do this in a couple of years from now, and you're like completely knocking it out of the park and have exceeded all of your goals and expectations. So.
Awesome. We appreciate if there's anything we can do to support you guys, more podcasts, more shows, whatever. We're here for it. We're excited.
Absolutely. All right, y'all.
I think we might be coming down to your area in a couple weeks.
Oh.
Woo! Let's go. Let us know. We'll go to the beach or something.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
We need to do a Florida trip bad. I haven't been to Florida in like 3 years, and
Yeah,
I'm due.
we're due.
I didn't get to go to Miami, so.
Oh, we'll do like
Florida, Nashville, Utah.
Yeah.
Pack it all in the end of the year.
I'm telling you, we got a lot of trips this last 6 months coming up, and I'm pumped.
Yeah, we were just looking at it and we're like, I have a bachelor party in like Kentucky, and then we do we've got Nashville, and then we've got Utah, and then there was something else we were gonna do. Oh, I'm
going to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Cincinnati for the Bucks game. So
you guys are coming up for that?
It's not 1,000,000% guaranteed, but it's like 99.9.
We're going up for it.
Yeah.
Oh, even if Katie said it's happening. So.
I can't wait.
Well, I go.
He's got way too many people reaching out to him.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna body paint myself. Bucks. I'm gonna have 100%. I'm gonna be sitting there like right behind Baker Mayfield, like telling him I love him, like a little teenage girl, like a Swiftie.
Custom Bengals jersey made.
No, you guys aren't gonna want to be in the stadium near me. I'm gonna be causing a ruckus. Awesome. All right, y'all. Well, thank you guys so much for the time, and we hope you have an awesome week.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.